되시기 때문에 밖으로 나가시려면 스피치 중간에 나가주시면 감사하겠습니다. So without further ado, on government, we have Team Alchemist. On opposition, we have Team Skyline. On the motion, this House would punish social media platforms for harmful content. I would now like to invite the Prime Minister to the hearing.
Can I start? We believe that we should punish social media platforms for harmful content because it not only harms one individual or one country, but it affects the whole global world because this social network is connected all over the world. So that is why I'm so proud to propose in this debate. So I'll first like to clarify a few definitions and then move on to our stance and then model and then say our three arguments, which is first about justification, second about responsibility, and our second speaker will provide a third argument, which is about harms to the victims. So our definitions. First, we define social media platforms as internet network where people can post and share their information. For example, Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And we define harmful content as videos or posted material which is very violent, like terrorism, media violence, extreme violence, and heinous crimes. So our stance is that we will punish social media platforms for those harmful content, and we want those crimes to be reduced, and we also want those people to be protected by those harmful content. So our motto is that we will punish those people who have uploaded this video, and if the social media platform do not erase this video 24 hours after the video has been posted, we will punish this media platform. We will make those companies pay the fee proportionate to those companies' income. So let's move on to our first argument about the justification. We think it is unjustified for those harmful content to be floating around the social media platform. In the status quo, almost everyone uses social media as a place of communication, relaxation, and fun. What do you think if suddenly a video of a terrorist torturing an innocent civilian comes up? You can hear the screaming of the victim and see the anguish etched upon the victim's face. How much harm do you think this video will cause? Social media platform is connected throughout the world. For example, Facebook, it is used all around the world. If one harmful content is released, then it will impact the entire globe, millions and billions of people. Imagine that your child, an 8-year-old child, searching something on the internet, or searching something on a social media platform and sees a person being beheaded. It will cause an irreversible impact to this young child's mind and mental, which can never be cured. So we think that this will also cause severe harm to the grown-ups' mentals, because those people's mentals will be severely harmed by watching those harmful content. So we think that it will cause further impact, further harms to society, because those unstable teenagers who think who watch those videos and think that it is very cool, we think those unstable teenagers might even try to imitate those violent actions. And in this case, we think this will cause a further rise of crime rates in the society. And we think that those harmful content actually released into society, it will create a societal view of being insecure throughout the whole world, and affects millions of billions of people. So we think that because of these reasons, because of the immense harms that it will cause to this whole world, we think we should punish those social media platforms for harmful content. So before I move on, are there any POIs? Now I'll move on to my second argument. My second argument is about responsibility. We have already said in our first argument about how this harmful content causes immense harm to those people who watch it. But do you think it is right for those social media platforms to just watch just let those harmful content spread and see it harming lots of other people? Let's take an example of school bullying. If we catch the bully, we punish the bully. And we also punish those watchers, those bystanders. The people who have silently consented the violence, who have watched the violence and consented to it. If the teacher do not punish this, they will keep on bullying. We think the same should apply with social media platforms, because the media has the power to stop those harmful content from spreading. And we think that if they do not stop, and if they let those content spread, it will cause further harms, as elaborated in the first argument. And we think it will actually create a societal view that the social media platform has actually committed a silent consent for those violent material to spread and harm those people. As the example of school bullying, if those people who have those bystanders, those people who have watched and consented for those violence, we think that those people, which are also the people who should be punished, and those people are in this case the social media platforms. If those people have the power to stop it, we think they should and must stop it from spreading, because its harm is too immense. So we think that if this silent consent actually happens and those violent materials spreads and harms more people, then we think that more people will be inclined to post those harmful content, because they will think that since there's no there's no rejection from those companies, and so since there's no rejection, we think that those people will be more inclined to actually post those videos more, because they want more views and more followers, and they want to gain more money through this. So we think that by actually not punishing those people, we think it will actually create a societal view that actually allows those harmful content to actually spread across the world and harm immense amounts of people, millions of billions of people existing in the world who actually use the social media. So because of those reasons, because the immense harm, because there's this immense harm that causes to the whole society, that is why I'm so proud to propose. Thank you.
Our team has a very clear stance that the responsibility for harmful contents are for individual itself, not the platform itself. Even there are a bit of responsibility for platforms, they are fulfilling these responsibilities by censoring and limiting the contents by platforms. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the leader of opposition under today's motion. This House would punish social media platforms for harmful contents. To give it a role split, as a leader of opposition, I will talk about our team's first argument, which is benefit, and our second argument, which is justification. Then our deputy leader of opposition will talk about our team's last argument, which is impracticality. Before moving on to our direct argumentation of this motion, I would like to rebut the previous speaker's speech. I have two rebuttals at all. Firstly, the previous speaker said there are the global harms, and the media have to, the social media have to stop it, and the government have to stop this. But however, the social media such as Facebook and YouTube are already limiting and managing those serious contents. For example, the YouTube is limiting those harmful contents with such as they are limiting such as they under the age that they are selected. And secondly, the previous speaker said that they have to punish those contents which is harmful because the very young teenagers can see, but it is very vague standard to punish them, and also the innocent people can lose their privacy because of those censoring. And so let's move on to our first argument, which is benefits, and I will support this argument with two reasons. Firstly, there are more benefits for the social media. There are a lot of benefits, such as they can communicate towards global people, and also there is a social media's most effective feature that is easy and fast to use. Also, there are many people earning money with social media. These are the benefits for the individuals, and also there are the benefits for the nations and the government. Social media can, like I said before, social media can communicate and share the contents with the global and worldwide people. With these characteristics of the social media, the people can share their country's culture or advantages. For example, our country Korea's K-pop became very popular worldwide because Korea's K-pop fans share and post those information to the social media. So the global people have the attention and know about our country and have interest in the Korea's culture. And the second reason that like I said in my first, there are many benefits of the social media. And however, and even in the serious cases that those social media don't want to service to the country because mostly they are global platforms, so they have a power, and there are more benefits than harms. So the nation and government can lose those benefits, such as like I said in my first reason. And our second argument is no justification, and I will support this argument with two steps of analysis. First, they are against that individual and organizations' rights, and first step is the individual's rights. If the government punishes the platforms and limited of the contents, there are no individual rights about the contents, and they can lose their privacy about their speech or posting. And secondly, since the standard of harm contents are very subjective, the people should be under the view and scrutinize of the government. Even the people are suspected as harmful contents. It could be just an assumption that government themselves are making their citizens as potential criminals. Who would be responsible for the privacy of unreasonable privacy for unreasonable people? They have a privacy about that, and the innocent people can have very harm because of the unresponsible government. So what I have told you in today's debate. Firstly, I successfully rebut the previous speakers' argumentations, and secondly, I successfully talk about our team's first argument, which is benefits. Then, lastly, I successfully proved that our second argument, which is no justification, with two analysis. So because of these reasons, I'm proud to oppose. Thank you.
May I start? Okay. So as the second speaker of team proposition, in my speech I would do three things. First, I would make a short refutation about what the team opposition have misstated, and then I would also make a short reconstruction of our team's previous argument, which was about first, justifiable, and second, about responsibility. And then lastly, I would address our team's last argument, which is about harms to victim. Okay, so, team opposition's first argument was about benefit. They said that by this social media platform, we can communicate with people in other lands or other countries, and people can even earn money by social media. But this is completely irrelevant of this whole debate, because our team is not banning this whole social media platform, but we're just restricting of those hideous contents about like videos about raping or videos about killing someone. So we're just trying to get rid of those huge, hideous crimes, the videos that can cause immense harm to individuals, not completely banning every single social media platform. So, and also because there is no connection about their first argument and this whole debate, their first argument doesn't even matter in this whole debate. And their second argument is about justification. They said there is an individual rights of contents, there is a freedom of speech, so we should guarantee this freedom of speech. But however, these people are using their right to violate others' rights. So in this case, we cannot use our right to violate other individuals' rights. And also these people are already criminals because they have committed this kind of terrible crime. So this right of criminals cannot be 100% guaranteed, because in status quo we does restrict criminals' freedom of mobility. We does restrict criminals' right of freedom. Why? Because they have already harmed the individual people, and if we guarantee this right of these criminals would again use this right against to harm other people's rights. So in this case, we cannot guarantee this people's right of freedom of speech. So because of this reasons, their second argument also fails. So I will now move on to our reconstruction. And before I move on, yes?
Can you give the exact standardization of harmful contents and ethical standardization that could be brought off of harmful contents?
Okay, I think the point of the POI is to ask us for the explanation about the effect that those harmful contents would bring up. But in this point, I'm gonna talk about later in our tip's last argument, which is about harms to victim. Okay, so our tip's first argument is about justifiability. Because it harms people who are in their word, it does harm this kind of hideous videos that harm people who are using the social media platform, like 8 years old watching on YouTube, like unconsciously watching a video of someone's head blowing up in the YouTube. So because of this reason, we are saying that we should get rid of this kind of hideous content. But however, they said the social media are already limiting this content in status quo. But however, it is an undeniable fact that in status quo, there is an existence of those terrible contents that can affect those individuals. So it has already proven that this kind of limitation is ineffective, and also there's no limitation in uploading some kind of content. So it means that basically there is no limitation of uploading content. So the limitation they're actually talking about happens after uploading, so this limitation point would also not stand. And our second argument is about responsibility, and we have talked about that the social media platform have ability to detect and erase those kind of contents, and also have perception that this content will affect people in the bad way. But however, if this platform is just being watchers and not preventing and blocking this kind of bad effects that this kind of content would give to individuals, then in this case, this platform also have a responsibility of those crimes because they have silently consent to that crime. But however, in this point, there's no proper engagement from team opposition, so we believe that this point still stands. And finally, I would go on to our tip's last argument, which is about harms to victim. Okay, so social media platforms spread at incredible speed. So just imagine that there is a woman who has been raped. And the rapist has uploaded the video of the crime scene. If social media platforms do not erase these videos or contents, this victim has to live in the pain forever. Because why? Every single people who are using this social media platform and watching this video can specifically identify the victim's identity. So it means that every single people who have previously watched the video would know who the exact victim is. So it means that this victim cannot overcome those suffering. This victim cannot overcome those terrible memories. So this victim is not able to live a proper life in team opposition's world. And here's another example. Let's just say that your child just become a victim of terror or gun violence. And there is a video of your child just head blowing up in YouTube or Facebook or something. Then you would probably not be able to afford a proper life. You would probably not be able to forget the terrible memories that you have previously had. So it means that so if we do not get rid of this hideous content, then it means that this victim who are suffering would suffer forever. But however, we thought in team proposition, because the social media company is a profit prioritized organization, because we are directly giving penalty to this company's income, it becomes motivation and incentivizes the company to erase this content. It means that our policy would be very effective to basically get rid of those massive violation of right that these victims could have by those hideous videos. So because of these reasons, we are very proud to propose. Thank you.
speaker. I'm the deputy leader of opposition of today's speak. And in today's speak, our honorable leader of opposition successfully proved that there are some benefit when we have some social media in today's society. And second, she proved about there are no justification to punish those kind of platform. And before moving on to our team's third argument and also rebuttals, I want to clarify our team's whole stance. And today our opposition is debating on opponent's side because although there are responsibility in social media platforms, yes, they have some responsibility of this kind of violence content. However, also the users who abuse has a much more bigger responsibility on them. Social media's intention and purpose is to make a better society and convenience the society, and many users are following this purpose. However, like any social group does, there are some odd people who are causing problem and causing some violence and heinous crime, and those kind of people are causing problem, not other innocent people. This problem is caused by individual abusement and not the company. And moving on to rebuttals of our previous speaker, the government side didn't clarify clearly about the punishment, that what kind of punishment they are due for the criminals that have some violent content, who posted the violent content, and also they have some very good standard of the harmful content that there would, and therefore there would be innocent users who had some harmful effect from the wrong sentence of the council and society, and also the deputy prime minister said that they are not banning whole of the social media. Therefore they don't They don't give any harm for the benefit. However, limiting the social media is very harmful things, because the social media brought us a very much benefit to us. So the limiting those kind of the social media which gave us a huge benefit are wrong. And also he said that and the deputy prime minister said that because criminals like violence infringe the victims' right, therefore they don't need to they don't need to respect their rights. However, then do you think the criminal are not human? Although they infringe one victim's life, however, they are human, and those kind of criminal is the pastime things, and they could improve from them. And moving on to our team's third argument, which is about the impractical, and I'll describe this argument by two reasons. And reason one is that in China, governments limited and punished the use of the social media and platform. However, still millions of people in China are using the social media within harmful ways. And also, citizens protested to the government because they limited the social media. And like this, even government limit social media and punish platform, people will use social media in various ways. It is because people experience the social media's convenience and also the entertainment. They attracted to social media, which gave them huge entertainment. The social media becomes one part of the culture, and in the culture, and they would
Point of information.
They would get some huge entertainment from the culture. And in the first time, the limiting culture is impractical. That citizens will find a way to use social media, like creating similar apps with social media. And this is so therefore, for this reason, it is very impossible and impractical to impractical to punish social media because there are people will find another way to use social media. And moving on to our second reason, it is that in status quo, many social media are enforcing policy that is punishing users who posted the harmful content like terrorism or the other heinous criminal, and government don't have to do punish because the other social media platform are also doing the punish, and this is repeating, and this is quite tax waste and also the time waste. Therefore, it is quite impractical. To punish those kind of social media platform. For this reason, I'm very proud to oppose. May start. Mr. and Madam Speaker, we the side proposition also agree that social media has some benefits, but we are saying that there are also harmful content that harms so much people in the status quo. And to solve this, we are giving you a solution to actually solve this. And that is why I'm so proud to propose in this debate. As third speaker of the side government, I would like to first point out the fatal mistake that the opposition has made in this debate and provided two main points in this debate. And in the process, refute the side opposition more elaborate way and reconstruct our team's argument. First of all, fatal mistake. They told in the previous speech, they told us that our stance that we didn't actually clearly said about how we are going to enforce this law. But however, in the side proposition first speaker, we clearly spoke about we are going to feed these companies who don't actually delete these harmful content, and they are keep saying that these benefits of the social media is actually going to be gone because we are limiting. But Mr. and Madam Speaker, we are not limiting the social media. We are feeding the social media who actually does silent consent on the harmful content. And also, the side opposition told us that they're agreeing to the responsibility of the company, and they're going to punish the individuals. But that is our stance. We are saying that company has responsibility, and we clearly said that we are also going to punish the individuals. So I believe that what the side opposition is saying is kind of not a clear stance. So I want the next speaker to actually clarify this point. And now I'd like to move on to the two main questions in this debate. The first question was: is this policy actually justified? The side of opposition gave you that it is actually limiting the individual's freedom, and they told us that in the status quo, Facebook and YouTube is already doing this. But Mr. and Madam Speaker, we the same proposition see a clear contradiction in this point. And if the Facebook and YouTube is already doing this, already restricting these kind of stuff, isn't it the same on the side? Isn't it the same? Restricting the freedom is same on the side both opposition and proposition. And also we the side proposition is giving you more enforcement in this policy. So I believe that these are the power to actually restrict these harmful content. And however, the social media is just leaving this content alone. And what the side proposition what the opposition has given us, like the example of Facebook and YouTube, they're only doing it to the minors. The side opposition needs to know that. However, we the side proposition want it to be more on all the people to actually help all the people. And also, why does the social media have these kind of responsibility? I would like to more add and extend on it. Social media, they incentivize people to upload more more eye-catching stuff, and because if there is like much more eye-catching stuff, there is like more profit for the social media, because more people are going to use this social media if they're like eye-catching content. But this kind of system is actually backfiring in the status quo, Mr. and Madam Speaker. They're to catch the eyes. These users, they're uploading these kind of harmful and sexual and very violent content in the media to get more because they want more attention because of these kind of systems that the social media has made. And we, the side proposition, has believed that social media, because of making these systems, we, the side proposition, believe that they also have responsibility too. And because of these reasons, since they have they had clear contradiction in their point, but however, we, the side proposition, gave you why this media actually has responsibility. We, the side proposition, believe that we take this first clash. And secondly, the second clash. How will it affect the actors? They told you that the side opposition came out and said about there are so much benefits that the social media has done, like more like communication in the globally. However, Mr. and Madam Speaker, we are not saying no to this kind of benefits. These kind of benefits also exist in our world too. We are just saying no to these harmful sexual violent content, Madam Speaker. And also they told us that it is impractical in their third argument. They gave us example about China. But however, Mr. and Madam Speaker, China is a very irrelevant point in this motion. Why? Because China is not actually the ones who are limiting the harmful content. They are just blocking away that Google link and that kind of stuff. They're not the ones who actually block away the harmful content, blocking away the harmful content. And they also gave us that in the status quo, social media punishes the users. However, then if in the status quo it is like social media punishing the people, if it is so effective that the opposition is actually proposing new in this debate, why is harmful content actually exists in the status quo? However, we, the side proposition, gave you about the victims of harms to the victims. Like for example, in the Korea, there was a BJ who raped a woman in a live video, and the victim of the content want that to be erased, but because of the large immense power of the media, these video has gone so much all over, and we, the side publisher, is solving these problems, and because of these benefits which happens in our side too, and since it cannot outweigh the harm for the victims, that is why I'm so proud of proposing this way. Thank you.
So for today's debate, the side government and opposition have the same goal, that which side was actually good for the citizen itself, and how could we stop those kind of media's harm. And hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the government opposition lead of today's motion. This would punish social media platforms for harmful contents. And since as a lead speaker, I'm going to look at the whole flow of today's debate and tell you why we take the following two clashes. Since most of my rebuttals are included in my speech, let's move on to our first clash, which is responsibility. The government talked about the current status quo, that there are no rejections from the current status quo, that there are very severenesses of side effects of medias, and also there are no rejections from the rejections brought out from the companies itself. But what I'd like to make sure is that leader of opposition proved that YouTube or Facebook by themselves and by itself are trying their best to prevent those kind of side effects. And the next thing is they talked about its government's responsibility, and I'd like to ask them, it's a platform's responsibility and they should get the punishment. And I'd like to ask some of the examples. Then in the school there are lots of fight between students. However, we don't punish schools, it's because there are no perfect way to prevent those kind of things. Yes?
You have clearly said about how is the social media platform's responsibility. So are you agreeing to our point about how they should take the responsibility then?
I'm just saying that they have responsibility, and that's our clear stances. However, I'm talking about they are already fulfilling those kind of responsibilities by engaging in, by preventing those kind of side effects that is actually belong to medias. And schools, like I've just told you in examples, schools' responsibility, there are responsibilities, but what their responsibility is, prevent those kind of things and prevent the secondary harm. And what they try to do is not punishing the school. They're talking about we should punishing the schools, and our team strongly believes we have a clear stances that the platforms or schools itself are already fulfilling their duty, so it's not government's responsibility to engage in this kind of problem. Yes?
Sir, then A, isn't in the South School, isn't the Facebook and YouTube only restricting to these minors? And B, doesn't this kind of example show that this policy isn't effective because there is still harmful content a lot in Facebook and YouTube?
I'm going to talk about in second classes. Then I'd like to ask them a very clear standards. What is actually the harmful contents? They talked about the violences and what is actually the violences is. We should talk about, because the standard of government that today's policy are very vague. We cannot talk about it's very effective or not. However, in current status quo, the companies or platforms itself has a very clear stances and has a very clear standardization of harmful contents itself, such as there shouldn't be the allowance of their bodies or there shouldn't be allowance of curse words. However, they don't give us any of the direct standardization, so it's a very vague and it's very hard to find which policy was very effective. And then let's move on to our second question. Which side actually bring the better policy? They talked about the harmful contents and the making those kind of harmful contents. The people who made this are criminals. And I like to talk about, like I've just told you, they don't give us the clear definition of what actual harmful content is. However, our team's very clear stance was we should left it as a current status quo. What?
However, what clearly said in our definition about harmful content is videos or posted material about violence, like terrorism, extreme violence, and heinous crimes.
So like I've just said, violence is a very subjective word for social media or society itself. It could be violence for someone, it could be gunshots, or it could be bloods. There should be more directly standards for everyone for this policy. And I like to talk about that there are no perfect policies that also could bring for the platforms or government itself. What I like to make sure is there couldn't be the perfect, because medias, like the government are kept telling, there could be a very enormous harm for minorities or majorities. Like I just told you, since medias have extreme power, government cannot even control those kind of points. Nope. And I like to make sure, since media has so much power, platforms or government cannot bring the perfect stances, which means, like the deputy leader of opposition told to us as the example of China, and there was factual points of those kind of China examples. Actually, China is limiting the points of harmful contents. And that was a factual point, and it's not successful because media is so large and even government cannot control it. And they talked about the platforms itself are also taking the privacies, and what I like to make sure is the government are taking the privacies without even a clear standards and not even giving the allowance or admitations of the citizens. Platforms, when we started the platforms, they agree and admit the points that the privacies will gonna be open, but they don't agree that their privacies will gonna be open to governments. And like they shouldn't bring the direct alternative that actually would able to solve the perfect ways. But like I've just told you, media is not able to perfectly solve. However, the YouTube or media itself has a very clear standards, and actually the point of now happening is actually decreasing the secondary harm, and it's their best for government or platforms themselves too. We could not prevent what happens, but we could prevent the secondary harm, and it's actually done in the current status quo. Thank you.
May I start? Good afternoon, Mr. and Madam Speaker. I'm the opposition reply of today's debate, and in today's debate, the government kept argued that because the social media have some harmful content, because there are some harming people who post just like violent content, and while our opposition successfully proved that it is responsible for the user who abuse those kind of social media, not the platform who just allow people to like post and communicate with each other. And we have honorable debater here, and including myself, but what I like to do from now on is take a step back from the debate, take a step back from the rhetoric, and really look at what has been said. And let's look at the material. It's pretty obvious that there was two very important points in today's debate, and the first one is about the justification. And to this important point, our opposition successfully proved that there are no justification to punish the social media platform because the other users who followed these rules and the purpose of the social media have some harm, and also they have the freedom to enjoy this kind of social media and communicate, and also they have some privacy to like they also have right to keep their privacy by the government, and this is proved by our honorable leader of opposition very clearly. And however, the government kept argued that they have some justification to punish this kind of social media platform because they are in fact the one kind of violence content are affecting the whole global. So therefore, they have to punish them, and they have justification. However, the company is already doing some policy for them, and we told you this in million times. And moving on to our second important point, which is about the benefit. And to this, our deputy leader of opposition told you that social media brought us a huge benefit for the society, like communicating fastly, and they brought us some convenience and enjoy like entertainment. And however, therefore we should. However, the government kept told us that we should punish. They should punish the social media platform because they give some harmful effect to the whole global and not one society. However, and also they said they are not banning whole kind of social media, so there are still some benefit. However, limiting this social media that is giving us some benefits, or that kind of limiting or gave us a harmful effect of them. And to wrap up, our opposition have two burden of proof, which we both successfully proved in today's debate. And the first one is about the social media brought us some huge benefits. However, to this, the government kept told us that we don't have to. It harms some people and victims, and they told us this repeatedly. So, our company are doing policy. So, for this, I'm very proud to oppose.
Can I start? So as the reply speaker of team government, in my speech I would like to compare two words that each team have previously provided. Okay, so first of all, in our team government, we have previously argued that this social media platform company does have responsibility of those silent consent that they give to those crimes. So and also because this harmful content can cause immense harm to these victims and also the users who are actually viewing those contents. Because of this reason, we have to get rid of those harmful contents. But however, in this case, the team opposition just strawman our whole case as if like we're limiting the whole media platform and compared us to China. But this is the proof that they didn't even understand our team's whole case, because the country China itself is restricting every single media platform, not just those harmful contents. But however, in our previous speech, we have made it very clear that in our team, we are only trying to solve those problems that this harmful content would cause, but we are not restricting and limiting this whole social media platform. So because of this reason, the benefit that they have argued also does exist in our side. But however, team opposition said the social media platform is already fulfilling their responsibility. But however, first of all, no, they don't, because there is an existence of harmful content, and there is an existence of people who are actually suffering about this harmful content. So because this limitation about minors, it wasn't very effective, we have provided a new policy about making this company think about the proportion and about the severeness and the amount of those harmful contents. So at this point, it is crystal clear that our team is at least better in fulfilling the own responsibility of the social media platform that team opposition have previously agreed. Also, we have provided the benefit about this team, a benefit of those victims and also individual users. But however, the only harm that they provide against our case was about privacy. But however, we made it clear that in this way, the privacy of these individuals doesn't even matter. Because why? They cannot use their personal right to violate a whole mass of people's rights. Right? We cannot guarantee criminals freedom of speech. Because why? If it does, then there would be thousands of people who would probably suffer because of those single criminal. So now I will go on to comparison of each word. Team opposition and team proposition. There is both existence about benefit about social media platform, like interacting with a lot of people. But however, in team proposition, we have better fulfilling responsibility of the social media platform company, because we can actually help this victim and help prevent those massive harms that individuals might suffer because of those harmful contents. Now, but however, team opposition, in their word, they're just causing severe harms to victim and users. So because of these reasons, in their word, because of their word, they are ruining up the thousands and millions of people's lives. We believe that in our team government have completely took this debate. Thank you.